On Islanders here. We'll break down the final decisions for defense roster spot. We'll preview tonight's game against the Flyers in Bridgeport, and we'll have the latest news from Islanders camp. All that and more coming up on today's Locked On Islanders podcast.
You're Locked On Islanders, your daily podcast on the New York Islanders. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
All right, everybody. Gil Martin, glad to be with you here on the Tuesday edition of the Locked On Islanders podcast. Lots going on for your New York Islanders, and we'll have it all for you today. Don't forget, today's episode is brought to you by Rock Auto. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. Visit rockauto.com and tell that Locked On sent you. We have got a lot to discuss on today's show. The Islanders hosting the Philadelphia Flyers tonight, 7 o'clock in Bridgeport, which is where the Islanders are playing their home preseason games this year because UBS Arena isn't ready. We'll talk about some injury updates, including an Islanders player who may be making his first appearance in a preseason game tonight. And we'll discuss the battle for the final defense spots on the roster. And let's face it, these are the 7th and 8th spots. So we'll go over some updated information about that and a whole lot more all on today's show. Thanks again, of course, for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. If there's something Islanders related on your mind, you have a question, a comment, or a topic that you'd like us to feel free to send us an email. The email address, lockedonislanders@gmail.com. And if you leave your first name and where you're from, we're happy to mention you on the show when we discuss whatever it is that's on your mind. You could also follow the show on Twitter @LockedOnIsles. And you could follow me, Gil Martin, on Twitter @IceWars, NYRVSNYI, and we'll keep you up to date on all the latest Islanders news, notes, and happenings. So we're going to start with a little email we got from a listener, and I always love getting them. So thank you to Charlie. Sent a few emails already in the past, and Charlie basically says, hope all is well. Don't like Gustafsson at all. He's an AHL player at best. Robin Salo has proven his time is now. Going the safe veteran route at this time would be a giant step in the wrong direction. I believe Barry wants Salo, and Lou will agree. Well, let's start with that because it is something we said that we would discuss on today's show. So again, thank you, Charlie, for sending in that email. And look, there are a number of factors that are going to be taken into consideration. Number one, we all know Barry Trotz tends to favor veterans. And the thing about Salo, it really isn't a question of Salo versus Gustafsson, because if the spot that's available is the 7th defense spot or the 8th defense spot, depending on left side, right side, etc. But if we're talking about a depth player, and yes, right now, if the Islanders were doing their top 6, you've got a 39-year-old Andy Green and a 44-year-old Zdeno Chara scheduled to be in your top 6 defensemen. And rest assured, those two guys are not going to play 82 games. In fact, if the Islanders are judicious and smart about their lineup, you rest Chara and you rest Green periodically. So let's say each of them play in 55 to 60 games. You know, that may mean 30 to 35 games for that 7th defenseman, or that, the 8th defenseman may get 15 games. Here's the thing. Is Robin Salo ready to beat out Zdeno Chara and Andy Green? That really becomes sort of the question. And If the answer to that question is no, if Robin Salo is going to be the seventh guy, a depth defenseman, then the Islanders are unlikely to keep him on the NHL roster at this point because it benefits Robin Salo in the long run a lot more if he can, A, get some experience in the AHL because he's not accustomed yet to the different size North American rink and the style of play in the NHL. He's played pro hockey at the highest level in Europe, but that's not quite the same as playing in the NHL. So there's that aspect of it. The other thing is this. If you really believe that Robin Salo is a long-term guy who's going to make an impact on the Islanders roster as a top 4 defenseman within a year, let's say, or maybe sooner, it benefits Salo more to have him go down to Bridgeport. Let's say he plays the first 30 games of the season at Bridgeport. And if he's really playing well, then you think, okay, I can bring up Robin Salo, plug him into the top 6. He's earned that spot. He knows about the North American game, is used to playing in the narrower rink. Try saying that 10 times fast. He's used to playing in the narrower rink. He's accustomed to the more physical style of the NHL and what the Islanders are asking for him. Maybe then you can bring him up. As far as Gustafsson is concerned, assuming he earns a roster spot, and again, he's on a PTO, a tryout deal right now, it makes more sense for Gustafsson to be that 7th or 8th defenseman, to have him play 25 games, let's say, over the course of the season, or 30 games, depending on the injury situation, to give some of the other veterans a rest. Salo would not have to clear waivers if you send Gustafsson down or if you don't, sign him, obviously. And then if you send him down, you have to clear waivers to come up. Not that I think there's a big demand for his services at this point. But to me, I think it makes more sense to have Salo play every day. And if he's not going to play every day, starting October 14th, when the Islanders open the season in Carolina, I think he's better off starting the season in the minors and then just make him earn that spot. And even if Gustafsson is not your cup of tea, and Charlie, I understand he's struggled the last couple of years after having that one great year with the Blackhawks a few years back. We've still got some veterans out there in Thomas Hickey, in Sebastian Aho, who could also fill in, but neither of those guys are considered top-ranked prospects right now. And I think, to me, the important thing is you want Salo to develop to his maximum potential, and that means he has to play every day. And therefore, based on the knowledge I have of Barry Trotz and Lou Lamoriello preferring veterans to younger players, and based on the fact that the desire is to have Salo play every day, and he probably isn't going to do that if he starts the season on the island with the NHL team, I think he's going to end up starting the season in the AHL. Whether he'll stay there all year or not, well, that's up to him and how well he can play, add the injury situation and how much rest some of these veterans may need, and that will be a big part of that story. When we come back, we will preview tonight's game against the Flyers in Bridgeport. We will also take a look at an Islanders player who may make his preseason debut tonight. We've got that, our Islanders birthday of the day, and a whole lot more still to come on the Locked On Islanders podcast. This episode is brought to you by DirecTV Stream. Does this sound familiar to you? You've got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbors, best friends login for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and it's a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes, no need to buy another device ever again, and the best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. Hey, Islander fans, it's Gil Martin here with an incredible app everyone who buys gas needs to know about. Get Upside. My listeners are making up to 25 cents for every gallon of gas every time they fill up. Just download the free Get Upside app in the App Store or on Google Play right now. Use the promo code HOCKEY and get a bonus 25 cents per gallon off on your first fill up. That's up to 50 cents per gallon cash back total on your first fill up. Don't pay full price at the pump anymore. Get cash back using Get Upside. Just download the app for free and use the promo code HOCKEY to get up to 50 cents a gallon back on your first tank. Some people who drive a lot are making as much as $200 to $300 a month in cash back, and there's no catch. The cash back gets added right to your account, and you can cash out anytime to your bank account, PayPal, or an e-gift card for Amazon or other brands. Just download the free Get Upside app. Use the promo code HOCKEY to get up to 50 cents a gallon cash back on your first tank. That's promo code HOCKEY. Up to 50 cents a gallon cash back right now at Get Upside. So the Islanders taking on the Philadelphia Flyers tonight in Bridgeport. And one thing that I think, fans want to know, and it's important, and Trotz interviewed after practice on Monday, yesterday, and here's, what he had to say. He said, it is very possible that Anders Lee ends up seeing some action tonight against the Flyers. And even if Lee doesn't play against the Flyers tonight, he will be hopefully seeing some action. Look, there's 3 preseason games down, 3 preseason games remaining. Anders Lee going to be out there for at least one, probably 2 of those games, whether he goes tonight and then takes a game off, plays the 3rd game, isn't ready tonight, plays the last 2. It is a lot of it is going to depend on how Lee feels, but clearly the idea is to have Anders Lee out there for hopefully 2 of the remaining preseason games, and certainly 1. And part of it is to try to get some kind of chemistry between that top trio, which as of right now looks like Matthew Barzal, Anders Lee, Kyle Palmieri. Now, Barzal and Palmieri, they played together during the playoffs late last season a little bit. They have a certain amount of chemistry, and we know Barzal has a lot of chemistry with Anders Lee. They've been line mates for a few years now. But Kyle Palmieri and Anders Lee have yet to skate together in a game-like situation. And, Barry Trotz basically saying he wants to see them get a little bit of ice time because, look, let's face it, you can scrimmage all you want, and scrimmages are faster than practices, and exhibition games are faster than scrimmages, and regular season games are faster than exhibition games. We all know playoff games go to a whole nother level altogether. But if you want Andy and Kyle Palmieri to work together and be ready when the puck drops October 14th in Carolina, one thing you want to do is make sure that they get at least 1 and preferably 2 preseason games where they're going to take some shifts together and get acclimated and get used to each other and what have you. Now, Matt Martin still not ready to appear in a preseason game. He is skating on his own. Still no contact yet from Matt Martz, but realistically, again, Barry Trotz saying he's not worried about Matt Martin getting ready. He said, Matt Martin is a professional. I'm paraphrasing here, not quoting, but he said, Matty is a professional and he'll do what he has to do to get ready. Whether he's ready to start opening day, that still remains to be seen. We're not clear on that, but hopefully the answer to that question is yes, and we will see more Matt Martin when all is said and done. And if not, we've had a very nice camp from Ross Johnson. You've got Richard Panik, and you've got Uncle Leo, all of whom are candidates fighting to get into the lineup as the third forward on the identity line if Matt Martin is not ready to go. Semyon Varlamov also not going to appear most likely in tonight's game. No updates on his injury situation, but right now, again, they're comfortable going with Ilya Sorokin and Corey Schneider, and that's, the two goalies who we are likely to see tonight in Bridgeport when the Flyers come to town. And so those are some updates and some of the things that Barry had to say. And again, it'll be interesting to see how this one plays out. But again, with regard to Varlamov, Trotz saying it's nothing serious. It's just something we want to get 100% cleared up so he doesn't have issues in what's going to be a trying year. Once we get going, there's no time for him to recover. And if you think about it, this year is a compressed schedule because of the Olympics. So there's a 3-week break in February, but that means that from October until the Olympic break and then late February until the end of the season in April, there's going to be more games in fewer days throughout this season. So basically, Trotz is saying that he's going to be cautious with Varley. He wants to make sure that Varlamov is healthy to start the season because once this marathon begins, there's not a lot of spots where he's going to be able to have a lot of time off. And I think that's a wise decision. So that's the situation there. The Islanders looking to get more players involved tonight. And I think we will see some good action out there and we'll get a look at it. So the game against Flyers, and again, Islanders, the key is not these games, although certainly you win them. But what you really want to do is just play well. And in all 3 preseason games so far, I think the Islanders have done that. So I like the start this team is off to so far, and we'll see if they can continue that for a 4th straight game tonight. So definitely be checking that one out. Islanders, Flyers, home game up in Bridgeport, and should be a good one. So happy. It's great to see hockey back. But, we're already at that point where I'm thinking to myself, these preseason games are one thing, but I'm ready for the real thing. The first couple of preseason games, you're just so happy to see players in an Islander uniform out there and skating. Well, now I'm ready to see the real thing. I'm ready for these games to count. They don't yet, but hey, that's the way it is as of right now. Thanks again for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. We've got more to come. Islanders birthday of the day coming up and a lot more, so stay with us. More to come on the Locked On Islanders podcast. We're back and better than ever. All eyes are on the gridiron as teams are back for the football season. And as always, BetOnline is your number one spot for all the pro and college ball action this year. With a new updated site and interface and even more odds, props, and contests, BetOnline continues to be the number one source for everything football. Head to the website or use your mobile device to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. And don't forget to use our promo code LOCKEDON to receive your bonus. From football, basketball, boxing, hockey, right to your favorite Vegas casino games, don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for the 2021 season. BetOnline is also the fastest and easiest way to bet on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts. Today's episode is also brought to you by Rock Auto. With the ever-increasing numbers of makes and models, it is now impossible for your local chain auto parts store to stock all the parts you need. So why endure often pointless or seemingly intimidating questions and wait while the person behind the counter orders the parts on their computer, choosing only the brand their warehouse happens to carry? You have computers with access to rockauto.com at home and in your pocket. So why choose to spend 30, 50, or even 100% more for the same parts from a chain store or car dealership? Rock Auto is a family business. They've been serving do-it-yourselfers online for over 20 years. And they have everything you can need: brake parts, tail lamps, motor oil, even a new carpet. So go to rockauto.com right now and see all the parts available for your car or truck, right locked on in there. How did you hear about us box? So they know we sent you. Amazing selection, reliably low prices, all the parts your car will ever need. rockauto.com. Time now for our Islanders birthday of the day. And this one, good one, a player I enjoyed watching, even though he was frustrated to watch at times. We want to wish a very happy 34th birthday today to former Islanders winger Michael Grabner, a native of Austria. And, originally drafted in the first round, 14th overall by the Vancouver Canucks, back in 2006, had a strong couple of seasons for the Manitoba Moose in the AHL, played a few games in 2010, and then signed with the Islanders. 2011, how good was Grabner? 4 goals, 52 points, a Cy Young type of assist in 7 the following year with the Isles, and then his production sort of dropped. 2012, 2013, 16 goals in 45 games, so that was very productive, but only over a little more than half a season. 12 goals in 64 games in 2013-14, and then 8 goals in 34 games in 2014-2015. Then went on to play for Toronto, the Rangers, Devils, and the Arizona Coyotes, where he last played in 2019, 2020. He grabbed a speed demon, and he penalties, and he created so many breakaways. That speed, the only problem was he had trouble finishing a lot of the time. His speed would get him in addition to get a break, then he'd miss the net wide, and that was the frustrating side of Michael Grabner's game. For his career, 640 games, 175 goals, 276 points, and 110 penalty minutes. 40 playoff games, including 8 for the Islanders, 9 goals, 15 points in those games. We're going to go back and look at Grabner's better games with the Isles. We're talking February 10th, 2011 at the Bell Center in Montreal. Mikko Koskinen, the goalie for the Islanders, while Alex Auld was in between the pipes for that night. And Montreal got on the board first. Max Pacioretty, his 9th from David Desharnais and Yaroslav Spacek at 14:10. Islanders behind early 1-0. But John Tavares answers a little more than 2 minutes later, an unassisted goal, his 19th at 16:35 after one period. Islanders won and the Canadiens won. In the second period, Benoit Pouliot, he makes it 2-1 Canadiens, his 11th from Ryan White at 5:49. The Islanders do answer. Michael Grabner, our Islanders birthday of the day, his 18th. Franz Nielsen and Jack Hillen with the assist at 17:10. But 58 seconds later, Thomas Plekanec, his 19th unassisted. After 2 periods, Montreal had a 3-2 lead. But Michael Grabner, our Islanders' birthday of the day, ties it. His 19th of the year, second of the game. Franz Nielsen and Jack Hillen again with the helpers. The game goes to overtime. Nobody scores in overtime, and we go to the shootout. And nobody scored in the first 3 rounds of the shootout. Koskinen stopped Benoit Pouliot in the 4th round for Montreal, and then Kyle Oposo beats Alex Auld, gets the game winner in the shootout. Islanders skate away with a 4-3 win over the Habs. And for Michael Grabner, 2 goals in this game. He was a +2, and he had 6 shots on goal, which led the Islanders. Islanders finished with 33 shots on goal, but they were outshot 40-33. Koskinen with 37 saves in this one to get the victory. And again, a great game for Michael Grabner. Nice guy, fast skater, dangerous. Michael Grabner, Islanders' birthday of the day, and we wish him all the best on his 34th birthday. We want to thank you for making Locked On Islanders your first listen every day. Now make your second listen Locked On Fantasy Hockey. Host Scott Cullen leans on his decades of fantasy hockey insight and experience every day to help you be the expert of your fantasy league. It's free and available on all platforms. We will be back tomorrow. We'll have the takeaways from the Islanders Flyers preseason contest, and that should be a good one. And of course, we will have the latest injury updates and more from Islanders training camp, which is, believe it or not, starting to wind down. We are less than 10 days away from the start of the 2021-2022 Islanders season. Have a great day, everybody. Stay safe. And of course, let's go Islanders.